Okay, this is M5, Volume 4. This section is called Sequentials, Latest Attacks, and Graduation. That would be 11 April 2007.
Some talk radio host, who I never heard of, Don Imus, dared to speak outside of sequentialized parameters, and a big media storm is in full force, victims on parade. Those who are behind the sequentialization of Earth and those who have embraced the corrupt sequential ways are having a three-act victimhood opera over someone's opinion that clashes with sequential standards that have been set for Earth. This is part of a CNN article today. The bold and italics are mine. Michael Eric Dyson, a radio host and author of Debating Race, told CNN's Lou Dobbs that the talk has to start somewhere. To say I'm sorry without facing the fire of what he has instigated would be to essentially rap him on the back of the knuckles without saying, "Look, Mr. Imus, what you did is indicative of a deep and virulent pathology, simultaneous path that needs to be removed, and the reality is, these kinds of thoughts and behaviors have to be at least isolated, talked about and dealt with." Keep in mind that Earth is the current simultaneous designated planet. It was not intended to be sequentialized. Earth was intended to allow a full range of all game experiences. Higher selves, on the simultaneous path, were free to experience anything and everything from genders, all sexual orientations, poor to rich, slave and master, peasant and royalty, and in a simultaneous manner. All these situations are needed to gain the full range of body ID expression. The sequentials view this freedom as a deep and virulent pathology that needs to be removed. Why? Because it threatens sequentials with a higher vibration. This higher vibration exposes the incarnations to all manner of challenges, both mental and physical. It is intended that you be offended. Being offended is a mental challenge that stimulates examination of situations connected to the perceived offense. Yes, it also brings the victim-victimhood position forward, and several M5 segments address this topic. Yet here we are now in the latter stages of Endgame. The sequentials have finally succeeded in sequentializing most of Europe, Canada and the US. Remember from previous M5 segments that the creation of the United States was a sequential plot that started Endgame itself. One can't get more sequential than the concept of all created equal, the banner of the masses of sequentials. Keep in mind, though, that this banner is not true when it comes to sequential rulers and royalty. The melting pot of America is another sequential phrase. Take all that come here and melt them into a new, standard sequential. Whenever I mentioned a stew pot approach, it was vigorously rejected because in a stew pot, the ingredients maintain their individuality while flavoring the group. In a melting pot, the ingredients are destroyed and transformed into a uniform item. America is a melting pot, a sequential Trojan horse. On sequential worlds, conformity of speech and manner is demanded. It is considered a mental illness or blatant criminal act not to conform. Hence the sequential about using sequential words to refer to those who refuse to re-embrace the sequential path as a deep and virulent pathology. They actually believe that their spiritual natures have not been able to advance to where they are not body-aided. In many M5 segments, those, for whom M5 is written, were told that we are all types of incarnations on Earth and the body is only a vehicle for experiences. Using body-aided word slang means nothing to those who are spiritually aided. Think of all the zap words used to describe races, religions, ethnic divisions or whatever. You cannot think of one to apply to another on Earth that will not also apply to you at least once, likely many times, to your own higher self-incarnations. The problems of today are caused by the sequentialization of Earth and the desire to be identified by the body that is occupied at this time only. That is sequentialization, one incarnation at a time for one higher self. Sequential path higher selves cannot grasp the significance or experience of the simultaneous path higher selves. All they know is their way, and it is the one pathway that all must obey or be dealt with. This, as you know, carries on in organized religions. The sequential path is corrupt and an abomination to those on the simultaneous path planet. Been there, done that, is what pre-graduates of Earth maintain about the sequential path. Nevertheless, many on the simultaneous path will be misled to become sequentialized during their incarnations during latter endgame. Those who resist this sequentialization are those who will be graduating from Earth. Those who cave into the sequentialization will continue on the next designated simultaneous path planet. Hopefully they will overcome this major hurdle during that phase, although that is not our concern. Everyone proceeds at their pace and they have as much time as they need to conclude the game. Higher selves are individuals who must grow. The game gives them a stage to express and to discover themselves. Remember how Monroe talked about immature spirits in what he called home. Our higher selves are on individual journeys. The game is a major part of that journey. Each proceeds at Shum's own pace. The one-path perversion is a difficult one to overcome for a higher self. Those, who will be graduating from the Earth staging point, have done so. These higher selves have accomplished something greater than you can understand while still in the game. When your graduation comes, after your final has activated the nexus of time, then you will understand fully. There are rewards for graduation. You will realize what they are when it is your turn, when you are ready.